Welcome to Castagnola. My name is Michael Carton, and we're going to be doing the original San Francisco recipe for Irish coffee. The Irish coffee has pretty unique history in San Francisco. It wasn't actually invented here. It was recreated here in 1952. It was actually invented in 1942 in Foynes, Ireland, before Shannon became Foynes, by a gentleman named Joe Sheridan. It wasn't until 1942 when Stanton Delaplane, who was working as a stringer during World War II, actually had an Irish coffee in Foynes, and 10 years later sat down with Jack Kepler and recreated it at the Buena Vista. What we're going to do here and have at Castagnola is the original Irish coffee recipe. It called for 3 cocktail sugar cubes, Irish whiskey, coffee, and the cream that would float on top. And during the experimentation, when they're trying to recreate it, they found that if they aged the cream for 2 days, that it would float on top. You know, during their mini trials and trying to get it right, the cream would soak and just float to the bottom and not separate. The idea is to have a perfect balance between the coffee, the sugar, the whiskey, and be able to sip it through the cream without the cream floating to the bottom. So you get all those flavors at once, and there's a real delicate balance with the coffee and the sugar and the Irish whiskey that balances the three flavors, so one doesn't overwhelm the other. And they chose a 6-ounce glass, which is called a fizz glass at the time, and it's now called the Irish coffee glass, because of the amounts that you put in. It doesn't work very well with an 8-ounce glass or a 10-ounce mug, or that sort of thing, because the coffee will totally overpower the whiskey and the sugar, and you don't get the same flavor and the taste that you normally would get. So, the original recipe for the Irish coffee called for Powers whiskey, which was imported in America during the Irish potato famine, when a lot of Irish whiskeys were imported here because of the economy in Ireland. They still use Powers whiskey in Ireland at Foynes for the Irish coffees. It's been very popular. It's had longevity, very, very long longevity in making Irish coffees. Very popular over there. It's one of the best-selling whiskeys in Ireland, and so we're going to use the original Irish whiskey that they used when they recreated the Irish coffee here. It's the Powers. What they found is when they're recreating the Irish whiskey was the small chalice that they used was, in order to keep the coffee hot and make it tasteful, was to heat the glass. They found that they heat the glass prior to making the Irish coffee and keep the coffee hot, because of the ratio between the cream, the sugar, and the whiskey sort of cools the drink a little bit more quickly. So we heat the glasses first, and then the 3 cocktail cubes, the original recipe. And the coffee. And you want to dissolve the sugar as much as you can in that. The cocktail cubes were used because the sugar dissolves a lot quicker than the amount of coffee that they have. Other places use 2 cubes. This is the original one. You can see at the bottom of the glass there, the sugar is completely dissolved. And next comes the Powers whiskey. And then it's topped off with the Irish cream. During their experimentation, when they were trying to perfect the Irish coffee, they found that if they aged the Irish cream for 2 days, it would float on top, as they did in Ireland at that time. And what it essentially did was increase the milk fat in the cream, so it does float. It separates between the coffee and the alcohol, and it'll sit exactly right on top. So when you sip it through, so you get the coffee, the cream, the whiskey, and the sugar. It's a perfect balance. The perfect Irish coffee. And remember, don't stir the cream into the coffee. The whole idea is to get the balance of the coffee, the whiskey, the sugar through the cool whipped cream.